Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Northampton Township Board of Supervisors meeting for Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021 to order. Welcome, everyone. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. So I'd like to start out with a welcome. This is our first public meeting since March of 2020. I'm glad we could get back together. We worked very hard to get the room ready. And fortunately, with the COVID situation and the governor, we were able to get back together in a much bigger way than normal. As most know, the governor's order officially doesn't end with the mask requirements and certain other things until Monday, June 28th. Since we're before that, we are going to make a special accommodation for tonight's meeting only, and that is we understand that there still may be people that don't want to come out into the public, so we're going to allow public comment just for tonight's meeting, similar to we've done over the last 15 months, and that's via email. So at some point, for those that are watching either via the Township channel, the Township live stream on the website, or the live stream on YouTube, you can email public comment at nhtwp.org, and please try to make it 300 words or less, and I will read the comment into the record. There's two opportunities for public comment tonight. The first opportunity is for agenda items only, and then the second opportunity is for open comment at the end of the meeting. For those that do email, please put in the subject if it's an agenda item, what the agenda item is, and in the body, put your name and address for the record. If it's open comment for the end of the meeting, you don't have to put the subject in, just put your name and address for the record. Second announcement I have is, as many know, there will be a special Board of Supervisors meeting on July 7th at 7:30 p.m. here at the Township Building, and that is to hear the land development plan. Applicant is Provco/Wawa. That'll be July 7th, 7:30 p.m. right here. With that, I'm going to move further into the agenda, and we'd like to start with a special presentation tonight. I would ask Joe Saracino, who I see over there, to come to the center of the floor. I'll come down along with Nancy Opalka, our Director of Parks and Rec, and who's here? Betty. Hi, Betty. And Betty Satterley from Parks and Rec, too, to join me at the floor. Thank you. So please come around here. We're going to kind of look this way. And new equipment. So tonight we're here to recognize a good friend of the community, Joe Saracino. As I announced earlier, Nancy Opalka and Betty Satterley also here from Parks and Rec. And they're going to say a few words after I'm done. But I would like to read a proclamation for Joe in special recognition of Joseph Saracino. I'm not going to read this word for word, but I think you'll get the gist of why he's here. Joe's a resident of Northampton Township and has been involved in numerous Northampton Township organizations throughout the years. He has tirelessly devoted his time, talent, and resources to the Township Parks and Rec, the James Kenney Senior Center, the library, the police department, the fire company, and he's dedicated himself to sponsoring many programs throughout the township throughout the years. He's volunteered as a member of the Business Association. He volunteers at St. Mary Medical Center and at the Marine Corps League. And you can see his dedication reaches beyond the borders of Northampton Township. Joe has many times been a willing sponsor of so many events, sports teams, et cetera, throughout the years through the business that he ran right here in town. So it's my pleasure to make the proclamation, and I do like to read this part. Whereas the Board of Supervisors wishes to recognize, acknowledge, and thank Joseph Saracino, Joe, for his many years of volunteer community service, and now, therefore, the Board of Supervisors, and the citizens of Northampton Township hereby recognize and honor Joe Saracino as a distinguished citizen of Northampton Township.
Thank you. We are very excited to have Joe here. I started many moons ago in Northampton Township, and I think Joe has sponsored probably every event or close to them since I've been here in 1988. So he has been around a long time, and we so appreciate it, and I thank him for being our faithful friend of Parks and Recreation.
I was totally taken back by this, and it came at the end of my career. So it's kind of special because I just finished cancer treatment also. So it meant a lot to me. It really did.
Well,
but
we thought it was about time.
you guys, you should get all the credit because you have so many programs just for the seniors, the adults, especially the kids, and you just do a fabulous job. So this award should be going to you guys.
Thank you.
Real quick, and I'm going to ask Kim Rose to come down because we actually have another proclamation. If Nancy and Betty would come on back up, since it's Parks and Rec night. But, I want to say one thing for Joe. What makes these things really easy? His resume is clear. But when it was on the agenda and people saw me after the agenda was published, people said, yeah, that makes sense. And so you got it right with somebody like that. So that's great. So thanks again, Joe. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Kim.
Well, this has been a really tough year for everybody, especially with the COVID. And all I want to say is that our Parks and Rec have stepped up like nobody else has. They have literally made lemonade out of lemons and has made sure that our whole township was brought together. From the way they had an outdoor Halloween, and they had Christmas carols in the park, and they had a bunny shoebox parade, and made sure that all our fitness programs were done on Zoom so that everybody could stay healthy and fit, yet still stay together. And the way they brought the camps together. Last year they did camp even when it was very, very tough to do. They did as much as they could. And Nancy and Betty and your staff, I just don't even know what to say. They have just worked out of the box, done everything, and we are so proud and so appreciative of everything. You literally have kept our community together in taking care of our kids, our seniors, everybody, and the sports groups. So I just want to say that I want to read a little bit of the proclamation. Whereas the Parks and Rec programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Northampton Township. Our Parks and Rec are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in all our communities, ensuring the health of all our citizens, and contributing to the economic, environmental well-being of a community and region. It goes on, and it just, at the very end, it just says, let it now be resolved by the Northampton Board of Supervisors that July is recognized as Park and Recreation Month in Northampton. But you guys have made sure that every month is a month of Park and Rec.
Well, I did write stuff, but Kim touched it all. So, I do want to thank you for recognizing the importance of what my staff and I do and try to do and are committed to do every day of the year. So, thank you.
Thank you. I think she's going to do it. Thank you. Just as a quick reminder, so tonight we are broadcasting tonight's meeting on the cable channel. It's also, there's a link available on the township website to live stream from your mobile device or your laptop, and it's also being live streamed on YouTube, correct? So those are the three ways that people can watch the meeting. The township staff worked very hard to get this room up and running to kind of this new digital way of presenting meetings. We have some new equipment up here. Please be patient with us as the microphones are very sensitive and the on-off button, so it might take a minute or two sometimes to get the microphones to work. So next on the agenda is a public comment for the agenda items only. Those are items listed, and there is nobody signed up for public comment on the agenda items, so I'm going to move to consent items. And first up is approval of minutes. Frank.
If there are no objections, I request that the minutes of the May 26, 2021 meeting of the Board of Supervisors be approved by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Okay, approved by consent. Thank you. And accounts payable. Kim?
I have the bills list for June 9th, 2021. Total off funds, $624,451.46. And then I also have the bills list for June 23rd, 2021, $650,271.
Any objections? Approved by consent. Thank you. We have no public hearings tonight, so we have one piece of, I want to call it unfinished business. I'll call it more of the ongoing business. And tonight, our township manager, Bob Pellegrino, is going to give an update on the fire station construction. Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
Okay, microphone's on. Bill? Okay, we've got it up. As many of you may know or have heard, we have undertaken 2 construction projects in the township to replace our fire station here in Richboro and the station in Holland. We are doing this because these stations are very old. They were built in the 60s. They are you can go to the next slide, Bill. They're not compliant with current National Fire Protection Association standards for fire stations, and they are certainly not designed for full-time career personnel, and frankly, not even for volunteer personnel. They lack adequate workspaces. There's no gender-specific facilities. There's no overnight facilities. So right now, we have 11 full-time paid firefighters. They work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 days a week. They provide good coverage for us during those times. And right now, we're relying on volunteers for the balance of the 12-hour shift. I expect at some point in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll start to backfill those shifts with career personnel, as well as our volunteer base either diminishes or does not increase. Because right now, we're having some difficulty getting coverage. And we do have mutual aid, which is aid that comes from adjacent municipalities, but all fire companies across the Commonwealth are facing the same problem, a lack of volunteerism. And when you think about it, it's understandable. You have to dedicate a lot of time to be a volunteer firefighter. You need 200 hours of training just to get your firefighter 1 license. You've got to train every Monday night for 2 or 3 hours. To get your designation, you need to devote for 16 weeks, 1 day each weekend and 2 nights each week to training and learning the job. And so we are headed toward having a full-time paid fire staff. It's just something that I see as inevitable. And it will happen, we think, sooner rather than later. Our existing stations, as I mentioned, they don't have adequate workspaces either. And I mentioned the overnight facilities. There's no showers. Right now, if we have firefighters in the stations, and we often have them report when there are major snowstorms, so that rather than having them drive from home, they are in the station. Sometimes they sleep on cots in the station. Sometimes they sleep in their cars. It's just an untenable situation. Most importantly, we don't have good decontamination systems in these buildings. Now, what are we decontaminating? Every time a firefighter goes to a fire scene, they get chemicals on their firefighting gear that have to be cleaned off. They are exposed to chemicals. That's why now, as opposed to years ago, they wear air packs in a lot of cases. There's a concern for cancer because a lot of the stuff that does get on their clothing, their fire gear, it contains carcinogens. And it is the number 2 reason why firefighters lose their lives. They die from cancer, generally from exposure to materials that they get on firefighting scenes. So our decontamination systems in the new facilities will remove air products that are things that are in the air from the fire station bays. And later on, I'm going to show you a slide that has a concept plan for our new designs where we have hot zones. Those are zones where the trucks, the big truck bays would stay in. They're most likely to have carcinogens in them and pollution. Warm zones where the firefighters would go once they return from a fire to decontaminate themselves. And then the cold zones are areas that are living spaces and workspaces for the career staff and volunteers. So we don't have right now decontamination systems even for the firefighters' gear. Right now, they get hosed off at the fire scene. And when they do get back to the fire stations, where they have just a regular washing machine that they can't put their entire uniform in, they have to usually do 3 cycles, and it takes a good part of a day to just clean one set of fire gear. So you can imagine the time it takes to clean a crew. So what are we doing about this? We've embarked on a project to replace the 2 stations, as I've said. We hired a consulting engineer who will serve as our construction manager for the projects. I'll call them the projects because there's 2 buildings. We've hired an architect. We're working on concept plans, and actually they've started the plans for construction. Our timeline is to have the plans finished more toward the end of the year, and we will bid the project most likely in December, hoping that when we do issue bids at that time, winter's usually a good time to issue bids because contractors have finished their work for the year. They're looking for new work in the following year, and we found that the prices are generally better. We have, next slide, Bill, please. So we've had budget estimates for both stations. Fire Station 3 here in Richboro is $20.4 million, and the station estimate for Holland is $12.3 or $12.4 million. It's a lot of money. We've looked at the construction of different fire stations across the country and regionally. There are some other local communities here in Montgomery County that are doing the same thing. We're looking at the square foot costs. We estimated early on that we thought the square foot cost would be between $350 and $450. That's pretty much where we are. Right now, Fire Station 3 would be about $391 a square foot, and Fire Station 73 would be $398 a square foot, roughly. Total of $32.7 million is our budget for both projects. That is a budget estimate right now, but we think it's relatively close to what it will be. And frankly, it has to be that, or under. We did just several weeks ago issue bonds. You can go to the next slide. Thank you, Bill. So our bond issue, we think, was very successful. We issued $30.8 million in bonds. Our underwriters, RBC Capital, will tell you that our bonds were in high demand because we still have a AA rating, A3 by Moody's. That is a good rating, and it was not downgraded. There was a possibility it could have been downgraded as a result of the shutdown and our low fund balances, but we managed to convince Moody's that our underlying financials were strong, and they agreed with that. They also know that we have a very strong tax base and good underlying financials ourselves. So our bonds were popular. There was a demand, so much so that people were willing to pay premium for some of our bonds. So our bond issue was $30,835,000, and we also received, in addition to that, on the sale, about $5 million in issue premium, which is where people pay more than par value for the bond because they want the higher interest rate in the later years. So this is the sources and uses of funds chart that's in our bond indenture. You can see $32.7 million in deposits. That's what we will use to build the projects. The $2.8 million in capitalized interest is interest we will pay up front because we're trying to schedule our tax increase to pay for these bonds, which will be necessary in 2024. And then we had issuance costs for all the various professionals that helped us through the process of $295,000. So next slide, please, Bill. This is the concept plan for Station 3 in Richboro. You can see the three colored areas I mentioned before, the hot zones. Those are the areas that are most likely to have contaminants, and those are where we need the systems in place to remove the pollutants and contaminants from the air and from the facility itself. The warm zones are areas where the firefighters will go once they return from a fire. There will be commercial grade extractors that are typical of fire stations that will be used to clean the fire gear. In the warm zones, there'll be lockers and shower facilities for the firefighters to get cleaned up. And once they do that and they are now decontaminated, they can return to the blue areas or the cold zones where they will have their workspaces on the first floor and meeting and bunk areas and kitchen facilities on the second floor. Next slide, please, Bill. This is the concept plan for what Station 3 will look like. This is an artist rendering, of course, from our architect. It probably won't change much, but we are trying to, of course, keep the architecture similar to our other buildings, and certainly something that fits within the visions of the board in terms of architecture for the villages themselves, both Richboro and Holland. And the next slide, Bill, is Station 73, the Holland station. You'll notice this is a little bit smaller. I think this one's 19 or 20,000 square feet. Richboro's is 36,000 square feet. It will be our main station and most likely where most of our paid staff will operate from. Both of them will have training facilities because our company does train with adjacent firefighters, and we will also be offering in these facilities classes for the public, CPR classes and fire prevention classes and the like. So that's a little bit about where we are. Both sites, I have to tell you, are somewhat constrained, so the site improvement costs on these two projects are a little higher than what we would have expected. If we had just had a bare piece of flat ground, that would have been perfect for it. So we're dealing with underground stormwater management systems, new utility services and the like for these sites. Richboro Station happens to be higher than what it should be, and Holland Station has to be lower than what it should be. So we'll probably be moving soil from one site to the other. I don't know that it's an equivalent amount, but we certainly hope it's close. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them from the board, but that's a quick update on what we're doing and the projects themselves.
Excuse me, Chairman, may I add something?
Please.
One thing that I think you all have to realize, Bob was talking about showers and bunks and things like that. We are looking forward to having some women on our as part of our firefighters. At this point, there is no bathroom, there is no shower, there is nothing for them to go to. So we are looking forward to becoming diversified in our firefighters. And by having this replacement, we are going to be able to do that. If we keep on going without having this, who knows what will happen? I mean, you know, somebody could want to be hired and come in, and then all of a sudden, there's no place for them to even go to the bathroom. And now we will. So I am very happy that the administration and those who work in our fire company had a vision of what it should be, and now we are going to, thank goodness, we are going to have it, and we are going to be very, very happy that the administration and our fire people got together and showed us this excellent plan, and that because of our administration and their financial understanding, we were able to get bonds at a great rate. So I would like to thank the administration, and Adam, if you could please thank your fire people also for coming through with this, because I am very, very proud of this, and I am, hopefully, everyone else in Bucks County is going to look at this and say, I think we're going to do that.
I can tell you we are ahead of the curve on this. There are many towns that are struggling with this issue, both financially and otherwise. Many towns have multiple fire companies, and that further complicates the process. Two things I should have mentioned and I failed to. One is our bond average interest rate is 2.6% for 25 years, which was a really good rate, I thought, and the best rate that we have on our bonds. And the second was that we are still a combination fire department, which is a combination of career staff and volunteers. We're still looking for volunteers. If anybody wants to sign up, I'm sure we can get you an application very quickly. It does require a time commitment, but it is very important, and I think our fire company's done a phenomenal job of maintaining a true combination department where you can't tell the difference between a volunteer and a paid firefighter on a fire scene, in the station, or anywhere else. And that's how it should be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. That was a great presentation. More to come. And I was just going to repeat, we need volunteers. So please get the word out. You know, volunteers are important in the fire service. And having a combination department, we see a combination department for years to come, where it will be both career and volunteer working together. It's quite a commitment, but a very satisfying one, I can tell you, if you choose to do that. On to new business. First item for tonight is consider a resolution authorizing a Growing Greener grant application. Barry?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. The application, in town, we have about 80 basins that are currently in our various developments, and the township is responsible for mowing those basins, keeping them in good order. The DEP has come out with an analysis saying that of the 80-some-odd basins, about 6 of those, they want us to put a lot of stormwater management changes to it and things like that. we've been identified as one basin, which is right across from the Richville High School, Council Rock South, and it's right in the intersection of Holland and Upper Holland Road. It's a large piece of land. Basically, the administration's asking that we apply for a grant, and the grant we're looking for is for $504,000 to do a total of $580,000 work to this basin. And the part of the work is going to restore the basin and protect it against the environment and water flow, things like that. And why many people think it's a very important thing to do, if we were able to get the grant of $504,000, the township would still have to pay $75,000 out of our own money to supplement the grant. And why I strongly support environmental issues and things like that. I'll make the motion tonight, but to be honest, I just don't think it's a good use of township money or state money to pay for this, because we have 80 basins. They've identified 6 basins that potentially have issues. This particular basin is going to cost approximately $580,000. They want to make improvements to it, and I just don't think it's necessary. So I know other towns across the state and municipalities are facing this issue, and I think personally it's important to stand up sometimes and say, listen, even though the state may come out with a mandate, I think if townships say, listen, that doesn't make sense. It's not a common sense test. Sometimes people have to stand up against that. So I may be outvoted tonight, but I just want to say that, for my personal reason, I'm all about the environment and everything else, but I personally don't think this is a good use of money for the environment. But I'll make the motion, Adam, if I could.
Please, thank you.
Yeah, so I move to adopt Resolution 21 and it doesn't have the number, Bob, but 16. So I move to adopt Resolution 21-16, authorizing the township manager to file a grant application with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, the DEP, for the Growing Greener program to improve the detention basin on Holland and Upper Holland roads as required by the Municipal Separate Storm Management Permit, the MS4, and to execute all documents required on this grant program.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. Barry, anything else?
Yeah, I just want to add, and there is discussion saying, well, maybe we should just apply for it because it shows a good faith effort by the township. We're trying to apply with the DEP. But in my personal view, sometimes I think you have to stand back and say, if something doesn't make sense, you just have to stop it. And for this particular grant, I don't think it makes sense. So I'll be voting no for this.
Kim?
I will be voting yes for it because I don't, if we don't vote for this grant, we won't be able to get this money. And there's other townships that have not been in compliance, and they've already been threatened with fines. And I don't want to waste our township money for fines for something that we could get more than $500,000 in grants to do. So I will be voting yes, and I'm not willing to take a chance on fighting the EPA.
Eileen?
Nothing to say.
Frank?
I agree with what Barry said, but I will I will be voting yes for this. I've seen some issues in the past that, if you run up against EPA, and this is coming from EPA down to DEP, I don't necessarily agree with everything that EPA or DEP proposed for townships, but, the difficulty is, as Dr. Rose said, what they will do is they will fine you. I saw a case in Philadelphia when I was working for the Philadelphia Health Department, where the EPA came into the school district of Philadelphia on the issue of lead and water. Well, the attorney for the school district of Philadelphia told them to get a warrant. Well, $15 million later, they were still working on fixing faucets in Philadelphia. So for that reason, I'm very cautious. As I said, I agree with Barry, but I will be voting yes.
Thanks, Frank. My comments are similar to Frank. I do agree that I don't think it is the wisest thing. This is a classic unfunded mandate handed down from the feds to the states to the township. Unfortunately, we don't always get to pick and choose what we can comply with and what we can't. I'm worried that if we don't apply for the grant, we may miss an opportunity for the grant, and then we're stuck with the bag somewhere down the road, the whole thing. I would rather apply for the grant, it takes probably 8 months until we hear, and then spend that 8 months working with the DEP and the EPA to try to show them why we don't think it really makes sense for us, and seeing if they're either open to relief, changing their rules, and we don't really know what the new administration in the EPA is going to do with all these rules that came from previous administrations. So I think it's relatively low risk to go for the grant, and in the meantime, we should work in the background to at least make our case that we don't think it's the right thing to do with Northampton. And as far as the $75,000 go, I don't want to spend $75,000, but I don't want to spend $100,000 fighting why we didn't spend $75,000. I don't feel that that's a great move either. So I'll probably vote yes. So I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? No. Okay, motion passes 4-1. Thank you. Next on the list is consider resolution for microsurfacing certain township roads. Frank.
Microsurfacing is part of the, the road renovation project for the township that we do every year. This year, we're going to be doing 3 miles of microsurfacing, and that is sort of a way of preserving roads more for the future. Again, it's a life extension project for roads, but we're also going to be doing, just about 7 miles of milling and paving roads, and you certainly get a longer life out of that. So what I'm reading tonight is just for the microsurfacing part of that project. The whole project, by the way, if everything stays on target and the weather cooperates, we should have that whole 10 miles of roads done by the end of August. Township has an opportunity to again piggyback on a contract awarded by Whitpain Township, Montgomery County, for microsurfacing as part of our annual road maintenance program. Unlike road paving, microsurfacing application is extended to extend the life of the roads. It's roads that not ready for resurfacing, but there's enough wear and tear that, they would be showing up again in the next couple of years where you'd have to do that. Whitpain Township publicly advertised and awarded contracts for its 2021 road resurfacing program with the intent of opening the process to other municipalities that are members of the Bucks-Montgomery County Consortium or the Montgomery County Public Works Association, and our township belongs to both organizations. To piggyback on the contract, Whitpain Township requires a resolution from our board if we wish to participate in the bid. The low bidder for microsurfacing is Asphalt Paving Systems of Hamilton, New Jersey, and the price of $4.31 per square yard for a double application, and crack sealing for an additional 31 cents per square yard. Our program this year anticipates using microsurfacing application, as I said earlier, on 3 miles of roads. I'd like to make a motion.
Please do, thanks. Please.
I move to adopt Resolution R2117, authorizing participation in the Whitpain Township 2021 Road Resurfacing Program for microsurfacing on approximately 3 miles of the township road system, and further authorizing the township manager to execute all required contracts with Asphalt Paving Systems for the microsurfacing project.
You have a motion. Is there a second? Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? Anything further, Frank?
Nothing.
Barry? Eileen? Kim?
I just want to say some of the roads that will be microsurfaced, because I think I would like to know, I'd like our residents to know. So it's Florence Drive, Kathleen Drive, Suzanne Court, Loretta Circle, Elsa Way, Rosemary Drive, Nelson Drive, Danby Court, Greenville Circle, and Radcliffe Drive.
Thanks. No additional comments from me. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have consider a resolution authorizing capital equipment loan for police vehicles. Eileen.
I left it on so I wouldn't get stuck with it. The township has a vehicle replacement schedule as part of its 10-year capital plan and typically purchases 4 or 5 police cars each year. Because of the emergency use of these vehicles, It is imperative to keep the police fleet in good operating condition and eliminating breakdowns. Currently, the police fleet rarely needs anything but routine maintenance, reducing our maintenance costs. Because of anticipated revenue reductions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, these replacements were deferred until 2022. The township has learned that a shortage of microchips used in car manufacturing has caused a shortage of new police vehicles, and the shortage could extend to 2023. To add to the shortage, Chevy has announced it will not be manufacturing police vehicles in 2022. Based on that information, it is recommended that the township immediately order 6 police vehicles that are available from a state contract dealer. U.S. Bancorp, which is U.S. Bank, has agreed to a loan of $252,000 for a 5-year period with an interest of 1.545% to acquire these vehicles. To secure the loan, we must approve a resolution to proceed with this loan obligation. May I read the resolution?
Please.
I move that the Board of Supervisors adopt Resolution R21-18, authorizing a 5-year capital loan of $252,000 with U.S. Bancorp for the acquisition of police vehicles, and to further authorize the township manager to execute all documents required in connection with the loan agreements.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Discussion, anything else, Eileen?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we are dealing with vehicles that must be in good condition in order for our police staff to be able to protect our residents. It would be jeopardizing our safety if, on the way to a call for a robbery, a severe accident, or even worse, a police vehicle broke down. I am glad our administration is being proactive at this time of shortages due to the pandemic.
Thanks, Eileen. Any further, Frank? Discussion? Kim? Nope. Barry? None for me. I think it's a good move. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Eileen. Next, we have authorized some sale of some surplus equipment. Kim?
Well, this really goes well after the last one, because what happens is our Director of Public Works, what he does is he lets us know which vehicles have been replaced, anywhere from a 2011 Ford Crown Victoria that was replaced, or a Chevy van, to a backhoe, to a loader. So what we do with that is these items are expected to be valued at more than $2,000, and as a result, they can be sold when authorized by the Board of Supervisors. So what we do is we bring them up we sell them online to Municipid. So we get some money from some of our older equipment, and there's some other townships that maybe have less than we do, and they buy some of this equipment. So it works out. We make some money, and they get something for it, too. So with that, may I make a motion?
Please.
I move to authorize the Township Administration to sell surplus equipment at public auction as recommended by the Department of Public Works in a memorandum dated June 18th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anything further, Kim?
Nope.
Eileen?
No.
Barry? Frank? The only thing I'll say is we do sell these on Municipid, and for those that are looking for used equipment, used vehicles, Municipid is a great place to go. It helps the townships unload some equipment, and you can get some things that may be worth it for around the house but aren't quite ready for continued township use. So all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move into liaison reports, and Kim, you still have the floor.
Yes, as we all know now, July has been proclaimed Parks and Recreation Month. I hope that our Parks and Rec staff knows how much we all appreciate what they do. But I also hope that other agencies and organizations that provide recreation services realize that this month celebrates them as well. We have many organizations within our community that play an important role in making Northampton Township a great place to live. I'm speaking of the youth sports programs, the senior center, the private dance and fitness centers, the service groups such as the Lions Club, Boys and Girl Scouts, and Northampton Days Committee. Thank you for all you do. I would also like to announce that tomorrow night, Thursday, the 24th, kicks off the first concert of the annual Sounds of Summer concert series. Bring your friends and family, a chair or a blanket to the Municipal Park Amphitheater to listen to the sounds of the Big Baby Band. Their style of classic and pop rock favorites will take you back to the music you grew up with. The Northampton Lions Club will be selling snacks and refreshments along with their popular 50/50, and the Parks and Rec will be accepting donations for the local food bank. Concerts are held this summer every Thursday through August 12th. Details and a full listing can be found on the recreation website, northamptonrec.com. Now that the kids are out of school, you want to check out the listing of the specialty camps. There are all kinds of great camps scheduled, whether in person or virtually. Camps scheduled are acting, archery, art, basketball, chess, cooking, dance, engineering, golf, soccer, and tennis. Again, you need to check out the website for a detailed list of times and dates. And it wouldn't be a summer without a place to swim. Northampton Swim Club, located at the Country Club, offers swimming Monday through Friday. Although we host our summer camps at the pool, there's plenty of room for others who wish to enjoy the refreshing water. We also offer swim lessons and a water fit class. Feel free to stop up to the pool and see how much fun it can be. Hopefully, all who are listening know the opportunities our Parks and Rec Department provide for our residents and take advantage of what is offered. Now to the Senior Center. There's a lot going on at that Senior Center. The schedule is filled with a wide variety of fun and exciting programs to keep the seniors active and engaged. All the exercise classes are now up and running, including 3 levels of yoga classes, chair, gentle, and Vindasa, which is flow yoga. The Bocce League also started this week and with over 80 participants and 16 teams. There are even some new activities that have been added to the calendar. Keep an eye for a big announcement coming next month regarding the Senior Center's new website, which has been under construction. It's expected to go live in July and promises to be a great resource for the community. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Kim. Frank?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you, Frank. Barry?
Yeah, I just have a few things, Adam. So the Planning Commission meeting for June was actually canceled. Their next scheduled meeting is tentatively scheduled for July 13th at 7:30 p.m. We have some pending projects in town, which is the World Flavors and Business Commons. We also have a redevelopment of 840 2nd Street Pike in town, and also land development in the industrial park by Blair Corporation. And also in Holland, the PNC Bank building on Buck Road, there's going to be a medical office added there. And then also the Advent Church subdivision on Worthington Mill Road. That's in process. With respect to the Wawa in Holland, I know a lot of people are here tonight for that. There's going to be a meeting scheduled for July 7th for that in the Township building at 7:30, as Adam mentioned. Some other things happening in town, the Springwell Country Club, the townhouses are under full operation now, full construction, so there's a lot of activity there. The Waverly subdivision, Holland, I believe the model home is now being constructed, so there's a lot of activity there. And then the Giant in Richboro, that's been started now, and the plan is to have that done probably in early 2022. Going back to Holland, the Mill Race property, there's been a land development sketch plan developed for that, and that includes some condos and an office for that building, so we can get that building renovated. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. Eileen?
First, my library liaison report. I would like to announce that Diane Remington, our library director for the past 10 years, has taken a medical disability, and Amy Wardle will be the interim director for the rest of the year. New carpeting and tile have been installed as a result of a Keystone grant. The library hours have changed. They are now 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, Friday 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., while closed on Sundays for June, July, and August. Sunday library openings will begin in the fall. The library board is planning a fall event. More details to follow. Annual campaign has begun. Please thank our library staff for their dedication during the pandemic by giving a donation. The library board has been discussing a vision for the library as a community resource learning center. They need residents who want to be part of this discussion by applying for a position on the library board. Please contact Lisa Russo at the administration for an application. The 300-year anniversary is going to be happening in 2022. We will be having events scheduled from September the 1st, 2022 to December 14th, 2022. It is being designed to have a wide range of activities that will involve all Northampton in its history, community activities, historical tours and lectures, sports and recreation, a festival, and many fun events for all ages. Our first event is a slogan contest where the winning slogan will be used on all Northampton 300 celebration publicity and commemorative items. There will be a prize of gift cards to Northampton Township businesses. The contest is open to all current Northampton Township residents, and all entries must be received by the committee by August 15th, 2021. The contest rules are published in our township newsletter, as well as on the township website, Park and Rec website, library, and senior center website. We need a slogan, and we need your help. For your information, the Northampton Days Committee has made the decision not to schedule Northampton Days in the years 2021 due to the unpredictable nature of the pandemic and the difficulty to raise sponsorships due to the losses that many businesses experienced these past 15 months. In conjunction with the 300th anniversary celebration, Northampton Days is planning a community day on Sunday, September 25th, 2022. And trash again. Please be aware that the township has notified Mascaro of the numerous complaints we have received from our residents this past year. Their failure to be able to stick to the scheduled days for pickup of trash, recyclables, yard waste, and bulk items has caused Mascaro to be in default of the contract, and our legal representative has taken action. We hope that Mascaro will take the necessary steps to resolve these problems. Please continue to email the township at receptionist@nhtwp.org to report if your trash, recyclable yard waste, or bulk items are not picked up on your scheduled day. Lastly, a dear friend, Pat Komolowski, passed away recently. She was a gracious, classy lady. She volunteered for our community and our county. Our thoughts and prayers are with her family. That's all.
Thanks, Eileen. I'm going to depart a little bit from my normal emergency services liaison report and just have one thing to share. In addition to what Eileen said, the township lost a fantastic volunteer overnight. Past Fire Chief Charlie Vaughn, I don't know if many of you knew him. He's a life member of the fire department here. He did serve as chief. He also served as chief before he came to Northampton of the Lingahaken Fire Company that's up in Wrightstown. He was a Bucks County Fire Academy instructor. Almost every firefighter in Bucks County has encountered Charlie in one class or another. He really left an indelible mark in emergency services in our county. He served as the deputy chief for me for, I think, 9 years. And so he clearly was a close friend, and the township will miss him, the fire department will miss him, and I hope everybody just keeps his family in your thoughts and prayers. And you can go to our fire company Facebook page if you'd like some information about him, but he was just a fantastic volunteer, and we'll miss him dearly. So thank you, Charlie, for your service. With that, I'm going to go to the manager's report.
Just want to, if I can follow up on what you said, Eileen, about trash collection. To everyone in the community, we are well aware of the problems with trash collection. It's been ongoing since last April. We do not see right now a clear vision of where we will be. I can tell you that in the trash collection community, it is not limited to J.P. Mascaro and Sons. All of the major haulers are having problems hiring workers, particularly commercial driver's license workers who they need to drive their trucks. We certainly want to enforce the contract. They have an obligation to pick up the material. We have been trying to work with them. Those of you who are aware, we've changed the collection day for yard waste to Saturdays on a temporary basis. We thought that might help improve collections during the week. My read on this is it has not, and we will probably be ending that program fairly soon. I have to have further discussion with the supervisors on that, but that's probably going to be my recommendation to them. We really need your patience, and most importantly, we need the public to let us know when they miss your collection. If it's yard waste, recycling, or trash, we really need that information. We are tabulating that information. There are penalty provisions in the contract that we're looking to assess, and it's based on the number of misses and some other things too. But we really need your patience with this. Just call our office, let us know. We log these calls. We have sometimes people tell us that they've missed the whole street or they've missed the whole development. We then take the time to go through and count the homes on the street, because if it's the whole street, it's the whole street that gets missed, and it's any number of homes, and we need to know the number of misses. I have many people, and I've talked to many people who have asked me about just canceling the contract. It's not that easy. We can certainly do that, but the problem there is, who do we get to come in and pick up our trash? We can do it on an emergency basis, but frankly, in talking with other haulers, I'm not sure they're going to be able to do that. We collect from 13,000 households. It's a fairly large contract. We are in it collectively with Upper and Lower Southampton Townships. So we have to also consult with our partners in this contract as well if we're going to make changes like that. So it's very important, again, that you let us know if they miss your materials. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. It is a complicated contract, and it's a 5-year contract. It expires at the end of next year. Along with our municipal partners, we will be looking to bid that contract again in 2022, in early 2022, for a contract to start in 2023. We obviously, I can't tell you who might be the low bidder, but I've had a lot of people say, just cancel the contract, or why did you negotiate such a bad contract? We didn't negotiate this contract. We have to put it out to bid. We have to accept the bid from the lowest bidder, and frankly, the lowest responsible bidder, and at the time, they were the lowest responsible bidder. So it's just a difficult situation. We're trying to work through it. The misses have been significant. My staff is taxed with the calls, but we really need to hear from you when they don't pick your stuff up. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Solicitor's report, Joe?
My only report is that the board met in executive session 2 times since our last meeting. On June 16, for approximately 30 minutes, present for that executive session, where the members of the Board of Supervisors, the township manager, the assistant township manager, and the township engineer. Discussed were a personnel matter and 2 matters of litigation. No official action were taken during that executive session in regard to any of those items, and no official action is required this evening as a result of that executive session. The board met again in executive session tonight for approximately 20 minutes immediately prior to this evening's meeting. The same individuals were present for that executive session as were present for the June 16 executive session. Discussed was a single matter of personnel. No official action was taken during the executive session. No official action is required this evening as a result of that executive session. Other than that, wish everyone a happy 4th of July, and thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Engineers report, Amanda.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to provide a quick update on the township's MS4 permit that was previously discussed this evening. MS4 stands for Municipal Storm Sewer System, and that is a permit that is required by the Pennsylvania DEP. The goal is to reduce pollutants in our stormwater systems, in our creeks, and in our rivers. The township is in their 3rd year of a 5-year permit cycle, and we are still in compliance with our annual responsibilities as far as that pertain to that permit. And I just wanted to point out that there is additional information on the township's website regarding the MS4 program and stormwater management in general. If you'd like to check it out on the website and see how the residents can help reduce pollutants as well. And that's all I have this evening.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. We're going to move into public comment now. Just a couple quick, poor planning. Thank you. Thanks. So I'll just go down the list for public comment, just so everybody's ready. Just please state your name and address before you speak for the record. We do have rules for public comment. We'll try to keep it to 3 minutes per person. If you're trying to finish a point, I'll try to give a little bit of latitude on that. I guess I usually just say, try not to be too repetitive. Whatever the message is, if you have something to add, we certainly would like to hear it. And I apologize in advance if I do a poor job with your name. I have Selisker. I've had it my whole life, and it's difficult for people to say, so I feel your pain, but I'll do the best I can. And what I'll do is, just to try to make this go a little smoother, I'll call someone up to the mic, and then I'll say who the next person is so that they're ready as that person finishes, and we'll try to kind of have an on-deck flow. We are, again, using a new system, so hopefully everything will work out okay. First up is Charles Chack. Good evening. Your name and address for the record.
My name is Charles Chack, 74 Lakeview Drive. I'm approximately 2 blocks from the proposed Wawa site on the right property. I'd like to ask you, going right down the road, starting here, over here, it's germane to all of us how close you live to the right site, because we are affected directly. Even the township manager, I want to know where you live, and I think you live in Doylestown. Could we go right down the road? How
So
close are you?
just for point of order, all questions come to the chair. This is public comment.
Yes.
You can make your comment. We don't need to have a question and answer.
Oh, that's important
period
to us.
right now. I
That's
know,
important
and
to all of us.
Tonight is
how
public
close you are.
comment, and this will be heard on July 7th, and there will be plenty of opportunity to hear
Interesting.
from the supervisors.
Interesting. Okay.
Two quick things, and I won't charge this to your time. We're getting feedback on this microphone.
Yeah, we are.
If you could just maybe turn it down a little bit, we're getting a loud hum.
I appreciate
And
that.
I didn't even follow my own rule. Pam Duffy, you're on deck wherever you are. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Okay, the impact on the surrounding neighborhoods, all these comments deal with the impact on our neighborhoods. I live approximately 2 blocks from the proposed site. Not directly on top of it like some of our neighbors here, but close enough that will impact immensely. The cut-through. With the new light proposed, I'm still getting feedback, with the new light proposed at Roxville and Buck, we have a hill. People go down that hill, it's 25 miles an hour, 45, 50. I collect car parts from that area, clean them up, throw them in the dumpster with permission from the people there. There's usually tires, fenders. When there's a light there, you're going to have a backup. People are going to be jamming into one another because people fly over that hill. Also, going into that Wawa, the site coming out off of Hope Road, people won't be able to get out of the Wawa. They'll be jammed up trying to get out of there. The impact on the traffic and the studies that have been done by Mr. Solomon and Mr. Pellegrino and the whatever township or transportation things you've done, they're flawed. They're flawed, basically flawed. They have to be redone. Next, 9 years ago, I looked at the Holland master plan, and a number of the supervisors' names were on that list. The proposal I saw was beautiful. It had a little park on the top for the right site with small offices, maybe duplexes. There were about 3 different plans, and each one of them was unbelievably well done. I loved it. But what happened to that plan? That plan is gone. Where is it? You know, we need something there that won't impact our lives in such a negative fashion. Unbelievable. Now, also, we have children and elderly people where these cars are going to be coming through because they don't want to be jammed up. They are called cut-throughs. We're going to have cut-throughs through our neighborhoods. We don't have sidewalks. I'm 72 years old. We have neighbors that are older than me, and we have children that play in those streets. No sidewalks. And cars fly up. When there's an accident on Roxville and Buck, my traffic on my street on Lakeview Drive increases 500%, and people fly. It's posted at 25, 45, 50, 60 miles an hour, right up our streets. Little kids have to run out of the way of the traffic that's coming up, and they're flying through those streets. Next. My nest egg. I'm retired. I'm getting ready down the road to sell my home. But I'm still concerned about our neighbors because they have a whole lifetime in bringing up their families and children in these neighborhoods. And it's going to change our neighborhood so bad. My nest egg will go boom when I sell my house because it's going to devalue our properties. That's why I want to know if it was up to you living in our neighborhoods and it was your nest egg in your neighborhood, how would you feel? This is what we worked our whole lives for. I'm depending on that money from my house. That money from my house is important to me in retirement. I've been 35 years in this neighborhood, and I've done a lot of good things. In fact, I think I played ball with you. I believe I did. That's correct. But I played ball in the neighborhood. I was a school teacher, retired happily. Retired, I loved my job. And I'll tell you something, this is a great neighborhood. When I go to Northampton Park and ride my bike, I appreciate what you guys did there. When I went to the thing on the roads, the rails for trails, I appreciate what you did. You guys do a great job for us, but we don't need that Wawa in our neighborhood. They're everywhere. Every mile there's a Wawa. Every mile. We don't need it.
Thank you, Mr. Chack. Pam Duffy. And next after Pam is Tom, I'm sorry, is it Bucher? Bucher? Okay, thank you. You'll be up next.
Hi, my name is Pam Duffy, and Chuck's a tough act to follow, but...
And your address?
I live at 125 Hope Road.
Thank you.
I'm about 5 or 6 houses down from the proposed Wawa. I got 26 questions here. You've all heard it. I mean, I've been emailing you guys regularly, weekly, sometimes twice weekly. Most of you don't respond. Mrs. Silver has responded, has asked me to stick to the facts. So, instead of reading you my 26 questions, the facts, okay? One fact, FHA mortgages. There are dozens of homes within 300 feet of that proposed Wawa. No one can buy one of those homes with an FHA mortgage. You know why? Because of the decline in property values, because they won't give the mortgage insurance because of the expected sharp decline over 15 or 30-year mortgage. FHA, no way. VA loans have a ton of restrictions, all kinds of just restrictions and requirements to obtain a VA loan. There are 22 million veterans in this country today and spouses who could qualify for a VA loan and can't buy their dream house or have to jump through hoops to do it, and it's not worth it to them. So if you guys approve that, you are exclusionary and discriminatory to our 22 million veterans in this country today, their spouses, and anybody who can get an FHA, who wants an FHA loan. That's a fact, Mrs. Silver. Okay? Now, that's it, my 26 questions, but, I mean, zoning has failed us, clearly. The right property was zoned commercial in 1954. My parents were married that year. It was 67 years ago. My father is 90. My mother's 89. Thank you. ZHB has failed us, and I wrote you an email recently of why, and I showed you how the ZHB has failed us. And I don't have time to go into that now, but they have failed as well. The master plan that you guys, most of you signed, almost all of you sitting up there have signed it. There's one or two who haven't. That's out the window. How much time did you spend on that? How much of my tax dollars have been spent on that? But, you know, I think most of the supervisors, you guys are on the same page. From what I've heard tonight, you know, you talked about the carcinogens. Mr. Pellegrino talked about the carcinogens for the firemen. I mean, those firehouses, I fully support that, sure. You should have a place to wash off the carcinogens. What about the benzene fumes that are going to poison me and my family? My father has bladder cancer from benzene fumes. He has been suffering for 26 years. 26 years with bladder cancer. Now he's 90, and I'm watching him go through holy hell because we can't treat him anymore because he's 90 years old, and he will probably die from the treatment. And, you know, and I have to face that, and now you're going to poison me and my family, my children. I've been paying taxes there for 21 years, okay? If something makes sense, you should just have, if something doesn't make sense, you should just have to stop it. Barry Moore, June 23rd, 2021. He just said it tonight. Negotiate. You guys, the zoning hearing, the zoning has clearly failed us. Negotiate with them. Go to Provco. Ask them to move that away from the houses. Please, how can you kill your residents? You're going to kill us. A lot of these people in this room have wells. You're going to kill us. Please, negotiate. That's all we're asking you to do. It's not a done deal. Negotiate. Nothing is ever a done deal. Negotiate. Maybe Wawa will walk away. I know you want them to pay for the roads, and I won't get into the road, but, okay, I'm done. That's it. Also, I think, Mrs. Fuller, you talked about the pollutants and stormwater management. That's a concern as well, and that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Bucher, and then Kit. I'm sorry. Saracen? Kit? Do I have that right? Somebody from Garrison Court in Holland? Are you here? Okay, well, we'll move on.
Hi. Hello, everybody. My name is Tom Bucher. I'm a resident of Holland. I live at 669 Holland Road, maybe a mile up from this site. And I thank Pam for not addressing the traffic so I could. This is a letter I wrote to Mike Solomon recently. I'll just read it here into the record, and that'll be about it for my comments. So it's a solution trying to come up with something different for that property. And my idea is a roundabout. It doesn't matter whether this works or not, but something else other than a super Wawa should happen. So thanks for the opportunity to discuss the proposed super Wawa. I'm a Holland resident homeowner for 40 years. My interest is mostly traffic related. I'll say at the outset that I'm opposed to use of the right property for super Wawa and believe it to be about as far from a fit for Holland as I can imagine. During our conversation, I brought up the subject of a roundabout for that space. There are discussions in web forums where claims have been made that the super Wawa alleviates the traffic congestion at the Y intersection of Buck Road and Holland Road. I submit that it simply moves the problem northward and makes it worse. A roundabout for that area came to mind, sparked by my reading of a proposed one in Richboro and knowing that of the beautiful and deficient one that was placed at Maple Avenue and Bridgetown Pike in Feasterville, Trevose, Langhorne. Roundabouts are an ideal solution to traffic congestion at Y intersections, such as Holland Road and Buck Road, where a conventional traffic signal does not work as well as it does at an X intersection where two roads actually intersect. I wanted to send this idea because it seems to me from 40 years of observation that once the ball gets rolling on developing a parcel of land, something winds up in that spot. In this case, even if the Super Wawa is stopped, the next proposal might be a Costco. And that was said in the zoning board meeting. So I propose that the township acquire the right property through eminent domain and use it for a roundabout. Apparently it can be done and money can be gotten because there is a proposed roundabout in Richboro. I have included a picture of my proposed, where I started with the current view of the property and modified it to show a roundabout north of the current Y intersection and south of Roxville Road, leaving Roxville Road between C2 and R1 zoning as it is. And the picture's here. Using the right property in this way alleviates the congestion of the Y intersection to the south, actually eliminating it. It uses the land in a way that fits the community and keeps it beautiful and look and feel. It eliminates the possibility of a future use as bad as or worse than a Super Wawa. It fits much more closely the Holland master plan for park area. It leaves Roxville Road and the R1 properties on the north side of that out of the picture. It eliminates the proposed dead end for Holland Road South. It eliminates the proposed traffic signal at Roxville Road and northbound Holland Road traffic, and it eliminates the need for northbound Holland Road traffic to make a 50-degree left turn, then a 70-degree right turn in order to go straight as they do today. To elaborate on my list, let me start with the Roxville Road issue. The proposed use of this road is a nightmare, and I cannot believe that PennDOT went along with this plan. The north side of Roxville Road is zoned R1 residential, with Hope Road houses within feet of it. I would think a zoning change would have to occur to use the north side of Roxville Road for this purpose. Also, in addition to the homes on Hope Road, the homes on the west side of Holland Road will have stop-and-go traffic, noise, air, and light pollution day and night with headlights hitting their homes and stop traffic starting up again rather than just passing by. The intersection of Buck Road and Roxville Road, where the proposed traffic signal is planned, is less than 90 degrees. It measures 50 degrees on the plan. Likewise, the intersection of Roxville and Holland Road is also less than 90 degrees. It measures 70 degrees. Currently, northbound traffic on Holland Road does not stop in this vicinity. The Super Wawa proposal has this traffic go north on Buck Road to a traffic light, wait to make a left turn, then left at 50 degrees, proceed to Holland Road and make a 70-degree right turn. This northbound Holland Road traffic, which today does not stop at all, will have to make two less than 90-degree turns and wait for a left turn arrow to do it. In effect, the north side of Roxville Road becomes State Road 2067 Holland Road. In addition to the congestion and pollution described above, there are always unforeseen issues and unintended consequences. Observing human behavior for 70 years, I'll predict less use of Holland Road, more use of Buck, Mallard, Heron, and the residential streets between Holland and Buck Roads north of Roxville for this reason. If northbound Holland Road traffic is required to wait for a left turn signal at Buck and Roxville, they'll make a tight left and then a tight right. The drivers won't do it. Instead, they'll stay on Buck Road and make a left onto Mallard or Heron or go past the elementary school and through the residential neighborhoods.
Are you close?
And I live on Holland Road, and that's what I'll do.
Are you close to the end?
Cut through traffic that will alarm residents who then insist on traffic calming steps. The whole thing is a nightmare. I sincerely hope that the Northampton Township, the elected officials, and all those in a capacity to affect the outcome of this Super Wawa proposal determine that it is not a fit for our community and consider alternative uses, such as the Roundabout proposal, for proper and conforming use of the right property. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe the mic stand can...
Yeah, I think we're going to move it. Phil, can we pull the mic a little further back? We're just trying to get rid of the hum. I turned this speaker off, so we're still, I think it's my microphone that's the problem. Sorry about that, everybody. Kit, are you here? Kit? From Garrison Court, just want to make sure we don't miss you. Okay, Jerry Duffy, and then Joan Chack is after Jerry. Did I say Joan?
I think you said John.
No, Joan, sorry. Well, sorry. I apologize for last names, but I guess first names too.
Hi.
Okay, Jerry.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm going
All
to
right.
turn my mic off.
Okay, I'm Jerry Duffy, 125 Hope Road. I'm Pam's husband. And I want to just bring to light a couple things that I've been trying to point out to the supervisors. I've been in touch with PennDOT. Traffic's been mentioned, and I don't think it could be underscored. I've studied the design of the Super Wawa. There's only 2 exits out of the footprint of the Super Wawa. One forces traffic northbound on Holland Road. It's a forced right turn north. They can't turn left because the proposed new Holland Road is bending on a curve. It forces traffic northbound. Anybody wishing to go southbound, like towards Feasterville, or eastbound, is going to have to exit onto Roxville Road. I've seen the immense traffic at other Super Wawas. I've spent 2 months last summer going every day, day and night, to the Richboro Super Wawa, looking at the traffic volume, studying cars, studying landscape trucks in the mornings, delivery trucks, refueling trucks. It's a never-ending stream of traffic, constantly. That's what we're going to have coming out of that one exit to go southbound. So you have all these cars that are going to be coming in to get their coffee and their morning sandwiches and their gas to go southbound towards Philadelphia or Feasterville. They're all going to be exiting onto Roxville Road. It's going to back up, as Chuck said, 2, 3, 4 cars, and they're already backed up into the Wawa lot. So what are they going to do? They're going to go out Holland Road. If they don't try to make an illegal left turn, now they're going to go through the neighborhood. They're going to go through Mallard and Crescent. They're going to be driving through past Holland Elementary School. They're going to be endangering the children that are walking roads that have 4th, 5th, 6th grade children walking on roads that have no sidewalks. My children walk to school at Holland Elementary. They're going to be using these as a way to circle back to go southbound. But the volume is going to be so immense. Wawa's plan is to have 25,000 cars. That's their model to build a new Super Wawa. Our area, it's 13,000. So we can expect a doubling of traffic volume. Before the pandemic, because we really have to write off the year of the pandemic, I would look out my kitchen window and I would see traffic backed up going down Holland Road. And I imagine the same thing on traffic going down Buck Road. That's cars passing a grass lot, the right property. Now we're going to introduce a Wawa with doubled volume, with cars backed up coming down into our area, all flooding out onto these little side streets, going through the neighborhood, endangering the children, overwhelming the streets. No matter how many ways you redesign the road or put traffic signals, it's not going to work. The area cannot handle the traffic volume that a Super Wawa creates. And that's the problem with putting this kind of immense commercial business in a residential area. That's why it won't work. It's a triangular area. 2/3 of it is bordered by residences. It's not like Street and Bustleton. It's not like Richboro. Exactly. All commercial area, they can handle that kind of volume. It wasn't even practical to use Richboro as an example because it's almost a completely commercial area. And then I just want to say, too, also in the 21 years we've lived there, I've seen fatal accidents on Holland Road with cars going down. Vehicular accidents, cars, young kids at night. They don't understand the roads. There's a blind hill on Buck Road. There's winding. Holland Road has blind hills and it's very windy. Now we're talking about tanker refueling trucks are going to be coming to refuel late at night or overnight. I've seen refueling trucks up at Richboro at night. They're going to be using winding Holland Road. God forbid we have a tanker truck overturn. I mean, I've seen fatal accidents on Holland Road. If a tanker truck overturned, Adam, you are a firefighter. It would explode. You know, the only thing between that truck on Holland Road and our homes is grass and trees. I mean, it would come right up to the houses. It's no place for tanker refueling trucks on winding, dark roads that have very limited visibility. So it's crazy. And I want to say this too. Tonight I heard you say concerns that are very legitimate. Police safety, ensuring police safety with new vehicles, firefighter health, preventing carcinogens, cancer, green space in Holland. I think the vote was 4-1 for green space, stormwater management to reduce pollutants in the creeks. Every one of those things is going to happen to us if you put a super one. We're going to have benzene, we're going to have exhaust and gasoline leakage into the Neshaminy Creek. We're going to have benzene affecting us with cancer down the road. You're going to have the safety. How can we feel as safe as we are today when we're going to have a convenience store operating 24/7 feet from our home, 70 feet from the closest homes on our street? We have 16 gas pumps. Where I just repeat what Pam said about the zoning board here failed us. They should have rezoned this for small commercial business. Like you talked about office space, condos, where the mill race is going to go. Why couldn't they consider things like that, like small pizza shops, professional office buildings? You can continue to have commercial properties, but small commercial, not something mega of this size that has no business in a residential area. For all of these reasons, I ask you to do the right thing. Yes. Vote on this as if your mother or father were living right feet away from this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Joan Chack. And then after Joan, as I'm sorry, I have a little trouble reading his last name, Romanek. Begins with a V. I'm sorry. Are you here? I'm not really. I can't. Vladimir? Okay, you'll be up next. Thank you. Hi, name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Joan Chack. I live at 74 Lakeview Drive, Holland, PA 18966. My husband and I bought our house a little over 35 years ago. I really liked the area. When I was in my 20s, I took some courses at Bucks County Community College, and afterward we'd come back to the watering hole and have some drinks, and just thought it was a really cool little town. And on many occasions, I would go to events at the mill race, special dinners, weddings, or whatever. So when my husband found that house on 74 Lakeview, I was real excited, and it was hard for us to get in there financially, but we paid off that mortgage a few years ago. So my husband said he's 72. I'm going to say maybe I'm a lot younger, or maybe I was a child bride. I have no idea. But over the years, we saw that Holland got a little rough around the edges. Mill race got flooded out. Watering hole went under. Then it came back as Johnny Apples. But it looked a little rough, and my neighbor said to me once, Joan, we're in the wrong zip code. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, we're in the wrong zip code. And I didn't understand what that meant. And it really bothered me. And over the years, I couldn't help but notice, and I think it's great. I mean, you guys are up here. This is where all the township offices are. But it seemed like the money would go more into the Richboro area, the sidewalks. We come for all these events, the happenings or whatever, but the nice sidewalks came up here. This is where all the cool stuff was happening. We go to the municipal park. We put our bikes on the back of our rack, but we have to, drive them up there, up Bristol Road, to do some bike riding. But really, I felt, and maybe this is not a politically correct thing to say anymore, but I felt like we were the stepchild of the township. Actually, when Council Rock South was built, some of you may have been around, there was some boundary line being drawn, and I actually verified that with one of my neighbors here. They were going to send our students, our children from our neighborhood, we were going to be sent to North because the high-end, I guess wealthier people in the township wanted the new school. And I remember writing a letter, and I remember at the time George Komalaski was alive, and he lived over in our area. And I think I hit home with him, and I said, you know, what is this? Is this a class issue? I mean, I'm like putting two and two together. My neighbor is saying I'm in the wrong zip code. Now my daughter, and she was only little at the time, and I'm thinking, okay, she's going to have to, then North is a great school. Believe me, she would have done well there also. But I'm thinking, no, those people that more in the Newtown area and those bigger houses, they want the new school. Well, I have to say the supervisors listened, and I think you drew the lines the way that it made sense. Well, now we're here. Now I've aged, I'm not that young girl anymore. And as my husband said, our house is our nest egg. I love my neighborhood. I've seen it change over time. I think a long time ago, it was a white-collar neighborhood. We're mostly a blue-collar neighborhood now. And I think it's great. I mean, they come over and they fix my plumbing and my electricity, and they make fun of the college grads. They go, the blue-collar people have to help us out. And I said, you're right. You know way more than I do. But we have this lovely little neighborhood. Our houses aren't worth $700,000. They're not. And I think it was rude. Somebody said to me, well, Joan, somebody in this room, you could sell your house right now in this market and get plenty and move. And I thought that was rude to me. And they also said to me, when that Wawa's built, Joan, you're going to be over there getting your gas. Well, I do buy Wawa gas up and down 95. I'm going to tell you, I go to the Wawa's, I get the shorty, I get the hazelnut coffee, and I use the bathroom. But I don't need it in my backyard. And then somebody in this room also said, what do you care? I know where you live. You're not right on top of it. Well, isn't that how it is nowadays in 2021, that I shouldn't care about my neighbors who live in Hope Farms or those people who live in Holland Road? I do care about them. And in 2012, I was at a meeting with the people on my street, the Konerkos, the Smoyers. I'm telling you, some of the founding people in this township. And we came up here, and Ms. Silver, I just heard you talk about vision. And I was skeptical. I was at that meeting, and we're voting, and we're doing little charts, and they're asking what we want. And I expressed skepticism. And somebody in here said to me, Joan, look, we're working for you down in Holland. Look, we put that estate's chimney place where that flower shop went out of business. And that got to me, and I thought, that's right. My supervisors are doing something for me, because that area was a mess. But this is 9 years ago. This is 9 years ago. I'm not a politician. I'm not a contractor. I was a school principal. But if somebody had said to me 9 years ago, they showed me the 4 plans for the right property. All of them were very, they all made sense. If somebody had said to me, Joan, we're too busy. See if you can make this happen. I am telling you, I probably would have gotten on the internet. I probably could have called DeLuca and said, hey, can you put a little 55-plus townhouse community here for us?
Can you start to wrap up?
I could have done that. I could have called maybe Chris Muntz and asked, does he know somebody that can come and build there? I could have found the Pheasant Valley Shopping Center and say, hey, look at these pictures. Can you do this? I'm not going to ask who dropped the ball on it, but the plan is still up there. And I say, if you're not going to do it, please take, I talked to Bob Wright. I was putting signs up. And the guy's talking to me about Council Rock and how he played football and how his parents owned the mill race and how they owned where Johnny Apples is. And I said, don't you feel bad about this? And he says, yeah, he does. But he says, hey, they're offering us a lot of money. What are we supposed to do? Million. So
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you, it's not the right thing to do. It's just not the right thing to do.
Thank you. So is it Vladimir? Did I say it right? I'm sorry. And then next is Elmira?
It's better.
Oh, okay.
It's better.
Romanik, after you?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. She doesn't want.
Oh, okay. Oh, no problem. So then after that will be Joe, I'm sorry, Buckhouse from Buck Road? Joe? Okay, you'll be next. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Vladimir Romaniuk from 147 Hope Road, Holland. I live about 70 feet from proposed Wawa, and I have no idea what you're gonna do with me, and because I don't want this Wawa next to my windows. Really, I don't want it. That's all my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. This will be Joe, just your name and address for the record, and then Judy Kroll will be next.
Yeah, I'm Joe Berkheimer, 361 Buck Road. For the record, I'm not related to the tax collector. And yeah, so I'm glad we heard people from Holland Road, and I'm on Buck Road. I'm just 3 houses away from this proposed site. Buck Road, it's like a high-speed speedway at night. People are driving, but you mentioned like 50 miles. I seem like people go 80 on Buck Road. I'm sure people know, and there's already a problem with trash. You know, people throwing trash, cigarettes, butts. It gets all over our lawns up there. This is going to make that 100% worse. And the way these traffic proposals are, it just looks like it's going to be even more of a disaster than it already is. I can imagine cars backing way up Buck Road, especially where, you know, at Buck and Roxville there. They're going to be it's going to be a nightmare. There's going to be noise. There's going to be light pollution. I 20 years ago came up here, you know, for the schools. My daughters went to Holland School, and Council Rock. It was great. My kids are grown now. I'm still here. I want to stay here. I love this community. I love my neighbors, and really, like what I'm saying, like this people here. We're gonna, you know, we're fighting for this, and we want to, like, you know, hold everyone accountable, like, you know, through elections and all. I would encourage everybody to try to get, you know, Wendy Thomas, who is our state representative, because she kind of seems like she's blowing everybody off because maybe she's bought by Wawa, but I think we should keep up the pressure on her. And everybody here, like you, I mean, everybody, I've never seen so many people in my community all 100% for this, and we're going to hold any elected official accountable for this. I just like to say that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Judy Kroll, and Judy, just your name and address for the record. And then after that, Carlos? Is that right? Carlos? Okay, thank you.
Okay, hey, I'm Judy Kroll, and I live at 39 Hope Road in Holland. And first, I want to start off by saying that I love Wawa, okay? My family would not eat if it wasn't for Wawa, all right? I mean, my kid, we have a really great Wawa up the street. Perfect, you know? Run in, my kid works at computer blindfolded. We love their hoagies, okay, you get the idea. But I wrote this letter to all of you, and I want to share it. And I only heard back from Mr. Solomon. But basically I say, I am writing to you today to implore you not to permit the Super Wawa with 16 gas pumps to ruin our Holland Village neighborhood. I know that the County Board of Commissioners they already unanimously voted the proposal down when they had that meeting. And I implore you guys to do the right thing. I know the area was zoned for commercial use, but I feel like gas pumps and the extra traffic in the area that is already overcrowded would be a huge mistake. And it's not the same situation as the Wawa in Richboro. And it's because, as people have stated, we have residences that are 70 feet from the proposed gas pumps. 16 gas pumps. I mean, we can't even get out of that neighborhood if you have a date night, you know, for 7 o'clock dinner in Center City, just saying. But also, I wanted you to please use your power to stop this from happening. It's my understanding that our township representatives, which are you guys, are supposed to protect and serve the will of the people in our community. And this project doesn't best serve our interest. I don't feel there was any transparency regarding it. I mean, we kind of found out through whispers and hush-hush, which already, you know, isn't kosher as a Jewish expression. You know, I try to teach my son, he's 19, that if people stand up and peacefully protest, that changes can be made. And, you know, do not let Goliath conquer David in this instance. Instead, make a name for yourselves by standing up for your constituents and doing what you know is right. And let the big corporations know that they can't simply run roughshod over residential communities, you know, and their concerns. And I just implore you to do the right thing. You know, not like the financially, I don't know what's going on, or I know Profco has millions of dollars, but, you know, like, give the people give the people in this community a win, what they want, you know, use your hearts.
Thank you, Judy. Carlos, and then R. Hartman? What, Rick? Ray, thanks, Ray. Okay, you'll be up next.
Wait, hold on. Right, is after me,
You're up now, Carlos, yeah, and
All
just
right.
name and address for the record.
Carlos Sesto Jr., 71 Mill Creek. I don't live directly near it, across it, but my family, we go through that intersection quite often. And all the people who I've told, and I really found out by all the signs posted, so thank you guys for posting signs. I really found out about that from the signs telling me about this Wawa. And everyone who I've mentioned that this is going to be the location for the Wawa, the nicest thing they said is that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And that's me being nice. I have a second grader and a sixth grader. They even do not understand. Children don't understand why this location would be used for something that large, plus all the gas tanks. They understand when mom and dad go through that intersection, we're doing several checks just to get across that intersection because of the blind spots. And people take off and fly over that hill. It's checks. Am I good here? Am I good here? Am I good here? Kids are still looking while we're driving because hurry up, somebody's flying over the hill. We all know that the road's there because we live there. We drive through there. Whether you do or not, we're telling you, we do this. Every day we go through there. Traffic is horrible. And I want to thank you for your attention. You have been, Adam, you have been paying attention to absolutely everything everyone said. Some of the other people I can see getting tired of this crap. But we're going to live this every day, and it's worse than a bad idea. This is terrible. It's not going to help anybody, and it's not going to make this in any way a better community. So pay attention to the people here. There's a lot of people here that are afraid to get in front of this mic and tell you that. There's people outside here that just don't want to be in this space because they felt like this is a losing cause. But this is not a losing cause. We're here to show you that we care, and I care. And again, I'm not even next to the building. I'm not even anywhere around it. But I care enough about the people here that I'm coming to say something. I'm putting myself on record so that you guys know we care about everyone here. We care about this community. I moved from the city. I lived with crap in my neighborhood. I've been around murders in my neighborhood. It's a piece of crap neighborhood I grew up, but I did everything I could. My immigrant parents busted their ass, got me through college. I came here because this was a space I remember as a kid playing for Olney soccer. This is where all the rich kids were. This is where the beautiful neighborhood was. These were the giant homes were. And I did everything I could to get my family to this place. And this is where they're going to carry me out of my house in a coffin. I don't plan on going everywhere. Anywhere, this is where I want to be. And I want my kids to grow up here. And if they go somewhere else, great. But this is where I want to be. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm speaking today, because I want you to know this is important. And it's a silly, silly thing for a Wawa. A Wawa. Like, it's dangerous, and you heard everybody else talk about it. It doesn't make sense. So please think about it. And I know anyone can buy, but it doesn't mean that we should do it. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Ray? This is your name and address for the record. Thanks.
Ray Hartman, Hartman, 65 Buckshire Drive in Holland. Good evening, Chairman Selisker, the rest of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I'd like just to say congratulations to Mr. Saracino and condolences to the chief. I never spoke any forum like this. Like some of the residents here, there's a lot of people here. I come from Philadelphia, probably like a lot of people in this township do, including people I work with. I had a job in Philadelphia where I worked about 12 years. I've probably been in and out of every Wawa, countless Wawas that I could possibly think of, working in every area of the city. Growing up there, I've been in Holland now over a decade. What I see with this proposal, based on my experience, is glaring. Based on my experience working in Philadelphia, I still work in Bucks County currently. I'm in and out of Wawa still, and it's glaring. And I just like to ask the board to reconsider And I know you are all politicians, and politics is a funny thing sometimes, how things can get done. And I know my job, when someone needs something, somehow it gets done, and I'm in a job where I have to make decisions where things have to be decided instantaneously. So, being that as it said, I just hope you reconsider or any type of altering of the plans. For example, the Richboro Wawa, the boundaries that are set for that Wawa, the access road behind it keeps traffic moving. There's a tree line behind it. The proposal you shown earlier for Station 73, it's nice and picturesque with all the trees behind it. The view is of that tower with the white boarding at the top behind it. You see how things look when they're nice. Of the whole meeting I listened to, there's the final thing I'll say that I want to address is obviously the trash issue is a big thing in Northampton currently. It's all over the internet. It's a big issue. Where I come from, the trash issue, if that was all that we had to worry about, and I'm sure some of you are probably from Philadelphia as well and have family in Philadelphia, we all live in this region. Obviously there's a high standard in Northampton about how the township looks, the dynamics of it, how things are laid out, the frontage of businesses. There's townships nearby that don't have any of that. And there's a reason why people are attracted here and want to stay here. And if trash is such a big issue, and that's the bar, things like that, I'm just imploring you to stay within that standard as it relates to this township. Thank you.
Thank you. Last call for Kit. Okay, just want to make sure. Is there anybody else that did not sign up that would like to come to the microphone? Happy to accommodate that.
Sheets are empty.
Okay. Would like to? Okay. What's your name and address for the record?
Hi, my name is Brett Duffy. I live at 125 Hope Road.
Just move a little closer to the mic.
Sure.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to talk a little bit about safety. We mentioned the benzene issues and stuff like that for the Super Wawa. What I want to talk about is more public safety as in terms of crime. I'm not a police officer. I think you can realize that. I'm 18, okay? But what I do know is that I'm an expert witness on teenagers going to Wawa, okay? Expert witness, I know what high school age kids do when they go to Wawa. They sit in the parking lot, they loiter, they do drugs possibly, from what I heard the other night, there was a couple kids drag racing in the Richboro Wawa parking lot. Do we need drag racing and drug use in Holland? Ask yourself the question, okay? It's an issue of crime. You have a 24/7 business. You're going to create a 24/7 business on the Wright property. Nothing has ever been built on the Wright property except Mr. Wright's house, okay? What is, in an area in the immediate Holland Village, besides the current Wawa that's there, there's no other 24/7, 24-hour a day, 7 days a week business. So we create that, okay, and then it encourages people who may, like kids, who may want to do drugs or whatever, or any other thing, to come to that parking lot and just sit there and do it, because nobody's going to suspect them. It's a 24/7 gas station. That's what they do. They can go, they can say they're filling up their gas tank. There's no excuse. They don't have to make an excuse. So do we want to bring that into our community when it doesn't exist? That's my question. And if I could say, if this question directed to the chairman or anybody else that wants to answer, do you believe that the location of this proposed Super Wawa is appropriate, considering it's 70 feet from the closest house? Just yes or no answer, if I could say.
We'll talk about it at the July 7th meeting.
Okay. I think that is your answer. The answer is... Okay, the answer is, and I'll wrap this up, the answer is that we want to delay and we don't want to talk about it and special interests are involved, okay? So the answer should be hear your constituents who, I don't know, 70 people, whatever, here that don't want this to happen, and there's 2,000 plus people have signed a petition to against this. Your voters don't want it. The vast majority of your voters don't want it. The people that elected you, hear them and vote against it.
Thank you. I have one comment that did come in that I'm going to read into the record. I'm going to do the best I can. I just have to make it a little bigger. Sorry. It's pretty small on an iPad. This comes from Barb Scanapico. And Barb, did not put her address, but I will read it into the record anyway.
75 Hope Road.
I'm sorry? 75 Hope Road from the audience. Thank you. Dear Board of Supervisors, please add to the public record the following comments re proposed Holland Super Wawa. While the ZHB has relied heavily, direct excerpt from 52721 determination, critical to the board's conclusion herein is the fact that Solomon had already made the exact same determination for the Addisville Wawa prior to conducting his review of the Wawa food market use proposed for the property. No one challenged Solomon's prior decision on the Richboro Wawa zoning approval to support their stand on the proposed Holland Wawa. I challenge that reasoning and implore you to do the same. The Addisville Wawa wasn't challenged because it was surrounded by commercial properties and not adjacent to residential communities. The simple fact that it wasn't challenged previously doesn't make it right. To rely on the fact this use wasn't challenged in Richboro as critical to their conclusion here in Holland is egregious. I call on you now to challenge this determination in the courts. I also call on you to enact zoning that will protect residential areas by establishing prescribed setbacks for fueling pumps that preserve property values, ensures the health and safety of Northampton residents, seeks to preserve the aesthetic beauty of our community. 16 gas pumps in a residential area such as this is unconscionable and unacceptable. Respectfully, Barb Scanapico, did I say it right? Scanapico. So that was the one comment that we did for public record. This is the only meeting that we're going to do that as we transition to a fully public meeting in July, but I wanted to get that into the record. So we don't have any further comments? There is one? Okay. Hello, Doc. Just your name and address for the record.
Thanks for hearing me. Dr. Barry Kroll, 39 Hope Road. I'm going to talk about safety tonight, and actually, people who know me are probably like falling over because I don't talk public. I'm not a very good public speaker, but here we go. I can talk to you in the exam room, so I'll pretend I'm in the exam room. I've been in. Now you want me to be. This is pushing it. Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So anyway, I've been a pediatrician in this area for almost 30 years now. I know I look like I'm 18, but I'm not. So safety of our kids, you know, that's what I'm here to talk about. There's so many aspects of what's going to happen with this mega Wawa in our neighborhood, a residential neighborhood, where our kids are running around the streets. There's a bus stop, literally, right across the street from our Hope Road to where the entrance of Wawa is going to be. A bus stop. Our little kids, they're not used to, we may have grown up in Philly. I could handle it. Our kids, they don't know what traffic is like, and you know, avoiding people running to get their gas and their hoagies, and they're not used to it. They're not going to be looking. They're going to get hurt, and that's going. You know, it's just unfathomable that we can allow this in our community at this point. And again, I'm a professional. I'm a pediatrician. My job is I spend most of my life trying to protect kids. I know, Adam, you're in the EMS, and you know, I appreciate you. And it just, the other thing is the gas, the fumes. If, as a layperson, you can go to Google and Google methane gas, cars, gas stations living in close proximity, and it will come up tens of articles from overseas, from the United States, leukemia, incidents of leukemia, childhood, our kids, childhood leukemia, growing up in it. I'm sorry, I'm making some of you yawn, but you know, to me, for me to be talking up here, you obviously know I'm passionate. Kid safety. I don't need any more childhood cancer. Sure, we're making strides in treatment, but once you get cancer, we can put you in remission. You can be cured. The treatment that we did to cure you is never going to, you know, you're never the same. So that's the two things I wanted to talk about: the leukemia, other cancers. Again, you can, you know, I look at the medical research, and if any of you want links, I can find that for you. But if you, as lay people in this room, up here, wherever, Google it. And, you know, and there's studies, or, there's peer-reviewed medical studies that, yes, there is a connection between cancer and living in close proximity to a gas station, yet alone the safety of our kids. Like, again, just to reiterate, bus stop right where the kids are going to be waiting to go to school, waiting for that yellow, or as I joke with the kids, their green school bus is going to come. The yellow school bus is going to come, pick them up, and the danger, again, if you guys live there, and again, it's nothing about you guys living there or not there, just do the right thing. I also run a business, so I know that, hey, I have to do this, otherwise I'm going to get sued. But again, you have to do the right thing. As my wife said, do something from your heart. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. I believe that is all the public. Oh. Sure.
Just a sec. Thanks for allowing me.
Hi.
Arvind Kavle, I'm 90 Hope Road. Just like Barry, I'm a physician too. I've been practicing for about 22 years, about as long as Barry has in this area. I'm not going to talk. I think I have nothing more to say than all the other folks that have said. However, I just want to pull ourselves back a little bit. This is our first in-person meeting after a long hiatus, and we know what the whole world has gone through, and through this pandemic. And I'm sure Barry has, and I have seen a lot of suffering, both from the illness as well as from the isolation and the stress of dealing with the illness. I'm also chair of medicine at St. Mary Medical Center, so I'm happy to report that as of yesterday, there are 0 cases of COVID in the hospital. So. What I really like to say, and this is some of my members get tired of hearing the philosophy from me, but it's very important, and it's very relevant to this group. Is the one thing that the pandemic has taught us is we really can't continue to do business as usual. We really need to look at everybody else around us, and what we do is going to leave a legacy as to what people will remember us by 10 or 20 or 30 years from now. And leaving a hard surface with gas tanks right next to people's homes is not the legacy that I would like you guys to leave with. That is my philosophical suggestion to you. The only other suggestion, and maybe it's a question or a query which may not be answered, is does the Board of Supervisors have a code of conduct for its members and how they interact with the public, and also for the staff and of the township? Because I have seen a lot of rather nasty exchanges, and it seems very unprofessional, and we are all recovering from this pandemic. Every one of us, I don't care how you look at it, whether you're a caregiver or a sick person, we need time to heal. And these type of exchanges are really very troubling. And so I'd like to just leave you guys with this thought that please look at what the impact of your actions are going to be. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc. Thank you. Sure. Hello, name and address for the record.
Sorry, I apologize. I had to work and came in a little later, so I wasn't able to sign in. My name's Jay Bowen. I I live at 108 Hope Road. I don't want to echo anything that everyone's already said. I'm basically up here just to talk to you as pleading with you. I'm also a public servant like yourselves. I know how hard it is to be a public servant and have to serve the community, and how hard it is to really listen to all the community's cries at sometimes, right? Suggestions, recommendations, and I know sometimes it's difficult. It's hard to please everybody. Recently, I was just appointed as the president for the Homeowners Association for that area, which is something that I took on very openly, without hesitation. All right. I see a lot of good in this room on both sides, and what I want you to do is, I just really want you to really kind of take in, every one of you, just take in everything that was said tonight.
you know? Take in the emails as best as you can. I know they're not always going to be what you want to hear. They always may not be friendly responses, but I side with both parties, you know, because I understand what it's like. Okay, I'm just like my friend tonight that I met. Hopefully I can meet with him out in the hallway. I'm also from Olney, and I was born and raised in Olney, and I played for the Olney Eagles. And I was, too, one of those kids that wanted to live in Holland. I remember the days on Sunday drives. We would go up to New Hope or Peddler's Village with my dad and my mom, and we would just drive. And the first thing you would see is that cutoff. And I knew if we were going this way, we were going to Peddler's Village and maybe riding the carousel. If we were going to this way, we might be just going to Johnny Apple's and turning around and coming home and not quite make it to the carousel, right? But now I'm proud to say that for the past 2.5 years, I moved my family here. I moved my family, my children. I'm trying to have my other families and move here. My mom just sold her house in Longcrest. We moved my mother in with us. I'm 45 years old. And I said, Mom, you got to come up and check out Holland. And she fell in love with it right away. I don't know if this Wawa is going to get built or not. I really don't. You know, but I hope with whatever does happen, whether it does or it doesn't, I hope at the end of the night we all can go to bed and not sleep restless. Because right now I'm sleeping restless. I am. Because I don't know the fate of that Wright Farm property. And I don't think you do either. So I do. I cry and I implore you, over the next few weeks, you're going to have to make one of the biggest decisions probably in your tenure. And I know you make a lot of hard decisions often. But I implore you to really look at all the facts, you know, and do the best you can to filter out some of the fake news. I know it's not easy to do sometimes, you know, but there is facts out there. There really is. And if you can decipher what's fact and scholarly sourced and what's fake, I think you'll see that this is not the location that is best suited for this community. And like I said, I didn't want to really take up too much time. I didn't want to repeat what my brothers and sisters have already said, but I just want to leave you with this. Please keep an open mind. Take in everything that we've done here today, all the folks that are looking at home on the television or on their computer, the ones that are in the lot, just take it all in and just really listen to your heart, listen to your community, and you know, I think at the end of the day, I think you will inside make the right decision. And with that, I just want to say thank you. And you know, I hope everything works well. And of course, you know, God bless everybody.
Thanks,
Let's
Jim.
stay safe.
I'm glad you made it. Okay. Yep, sure. Just your name and address for the record, please.
Sharon Furlong. I live at 133 Bristol Road. I'm in the lower Southampton, Feasterville, Trevose area, and I thank you very much for allowing me to speak at this really late, beyond my bedtime kind of time. I'm not going to add to anything that anybody else has said, other than, yes, I also live 5 minutes from here. I'm right below the Copper Kettle on Bristol Road. I live on a road where people, it is supposed to be 35 miles an hour, and I'm probably the only one who does 35 miles an hour because everybody else is doing between 45 and 60. I've had people try to take me out while I'm standing in my driveway. They're veering, they're throwing things at us, and this is Bristol Road. I would hate to see this happen in Holland, but that's not why I came up here. I came up here because I wanted to just add to everybody's restlessness at night, is that benzene is not the only carcinogenic agent that is involved with gas stations. And this is also very easily found. Some of these words I'm not going to remember without my notes in front of me, but they're all carcinogenics. Toluene is part of this. Ethylbenzene is part of this. VOCs, which are volatile organic compounds, are part of gasoline. So it is also not only the emissions in the air that is involved with leakages in pumps, in fittings, in putting the gas into cars, and in filling pipelines that go into the underground tanks. You have all those emissions, but all of these substances also leak if the tank has any rust, if the pipelines have any cracks, if the fittings are not fitted correctly, if they get worn by weather, of which we're having way more severe weather these days. So they are not
immortal. So all of these, and every time you have a joint, as everybody knows here way better than me, you're going to have a possibility of a crack or something failing or a piece of material failing. The underground tanks used to fail altogether, but after 1984, they started to be created with substances where they were less likely to leak or create vapors and explode. If it explodes, all of these things are in a fireball, by the way, but the tanks don't do that. But the other things do. So if you have then you have a liquid that might be a problem with the carcinogens that I just named. So it's not just emissions, it's in the liquid. So you're filling up your gas tank, and you drop a few drops down there. They don't have to stain for them to actually be there, because people think, well, if there's no stain on the concrete near the gas or your car, then there hasn't been a real leak that's going to remain. But it seeps into concrete because this is concrete. And then that gets washed with rain under and around the tanks, and that gets washed through to the ground, to the soils underneath, and that gets put down into hydrologically connected groundwater systems, of which Bucks County is quite blessed in having a tremendous amount of underground and connected hydrological systems. Therefore, that goes into Mill Creek, that goes into Neshaminy. Neshaminy is a feeder to the Delaware. We're already having problems here on the Delaware, and there are many threats to the Delaware itself, and it is the main river, the only free-flowing river east of the Mississippi that also feeds, or is the main drinking water, actually, for 15 to 17 million people on the East Coast. Okay, so basically, it's up on a hill. All of these possibilities of things that can happen will happen. It's not like if, they will happen. A rainstorm can be creating contaminants that are going to be staying around for generations. And yes, as the doctors said, that means there's going to be death.
Thank you.
Is this what you want?
Thank you. I don't think there's anybody else. Okay, that is the end of public comment. Thank you. And that is the end of the meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.